I'll show you 10 intriguing biblical archaeological discoveries. These historical places and artifacts corroborate both events and characters from the Bible. Let's dive right in. Number 1. The Cyrus Cylinder. This barrel-shaped object, known as the Cyrus Cylinder, is made of baked clay. It was discovered in 1879 during excavations in Iraq and is currently housed in the British Museum. The text is written in Akkadian cuneiform script, and it details Cyrus the Great's conquest of Babylon in 539 BC. It also describes his subsequent efforts to restore temples and repatriate displaced peoples. This is seen as parallel to the biblical account of the return of the Jews from exile. Cyrus the Great is mentioned in several books of the Hebrew Bible, and specifically in the book of Ezra. It states that Cyrus issued a decree allowing the Jews to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. Number 2. The Merneptah Stele. Discovered in 1896 by Sir Flinders Petrie, this ancient Egyptian artifact dates back to the 13th century BC. Created during the reign of Pharaoh Merneptah, the stele is carved from granite and measures over 3 meters in height. The stele contains the earliest known mention of Israel outside of the Hebrew Bible. This reference is crucial because it provides independent archaeological evidence of the existence of an Israelite entity or group during the late 13th century BC. The timing of the stele's inscription places it in the period after the traditional biblical date for the Exodus and during the period of the Judges in the biblical timeline. This aligns with the period of the early Israelite settlements in Canaan, as described in the book of Joshua and the book of Judges. Number 3. The Pool of Siloam. Discovered in 2004 in Jerusalem, the Pool of Siloam is believed to have been created in the 8th century BC. The pool is situated in the city of David, which is the oldest part of Jerusalem. It is near the end of the Hezekiah's Tunnel, an ancient water channel. The Pool of Siloam is mentioned in the New Testament as the place where Jesus healed a man born blind. Number 4 in our biblical archaeological discoveries is Megiddo. Megiddo was an important city in ancient times, strategically located on a major trade route that connected Egypt and Assyria. Its history spans several millennia, with the earliest settlement dating back to the Neolithic period. The city's strategic location made it the site of numerous historical battles. The most famous of these is perhaps the Battle of Megiddo in the 15th century BC. It was fought between Egyptian forces under the rule of Pharaoh Thutmose III and a Canaanite coalition, and it is one of the earliest recorded battles in history. Megiddo is mentioned several times in the Old Testament. It was one of the cities built by King Solomon and was the site of several significant events, including the death of King Josiah. Number 5. Capernaum is an ancient fishing village located on the north shore of the Sea of Galilee in Israel. It was inhabited from around the 2nd century BC to the 11th century AD. The village was home to a diverse population of Jews and Gentiles, reflecting the cultural and religious diversity of the region during the Roman and Byzantine periods. In the New Testament, Capernaum is frequently mentioned as a central location in Jesus' ministry after he left Nazareth. Archaeologists have uncovered the remains of a synagogue dating back to the 4th century AD. The synagogue was built over an earlier one, where Jesus is believed to have taught. Excavations have also identified what is believed to be the house of St. Peter, one of Jesus' closest disciples. This site, known as the House of Peter, shows evidence of being a meeting place for early Christians. Number 6. The Black Obelisk of Shalmaneser III. The obelisk is made of black limestone and stands at approximately 6.5 feet tall. It was once a public monument in ancient Mesopotamia, dating back to the 9th century BC. The obelisk was erected during the reign of Shalmaneser III, a powerful Assyrian king. It depicts tribute bearers from several regions, including Israel, reflecting the extent of Assyrian influence and diplomacy. One of the panels is particularly significant for biblical studies as it depicts Jehu, the king of Israel, bowing before Shalmaneser and bringing tribute. This is the only known depiction of an Israelite king in Assyrian records and one of the few contemporary illustrations of a figure mentioned in the Hebrew Bible. Number 7 is another artifact which correlates to the Bible. The Mesha Stele, also known as the Mobite stone, is an ancient inscribed stone dating back to the 9th century BC. The stele was discovered in 1868 in Jordan by a missionary, and it is one of the most important direct sources of information about the ancient Near East, particularly in relation to the biblical narrative. The inscription is a record by King Mesha of Moab, a kingdom located in what is now Jordan. It describes his victories over the Israelites and his building projects, including the construction of fortifications and water cisterns. The events described on the Mesha stele are thought to correspond to those mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, which recounts the revolt of Moab against Israel. Number 8. The Amarna letters are a collection of clay tablets inscribed with diplomatic correspondence from the 14th century BC. The tablets are written in Akkadian, the diplomatic language of the time, using cuneiform script. Akkadian was widely understood across the Near East, making it suitable for international communication. The collection consists of about 380 tablets. These letters were sent to the Egyptian pharaohs Amenhotep III, Akhenaten, and Tutankhamun. They include correspondence from various rulers and governors across the Near East, including the areas of modern-day Israel, Lebanon, Syria, and Mesopotamia. Some of the letters from Canaanite city-states mention groups and places that appear in the Hebrew Bible. Scholars use the Amarna letters to reconstruct the historical and cultural context of this era. This helps in interpreting the biblical narrative, particularly the books of Joshua and Judges, which describe the Israelites' entry and settlement in Canaan. Number 9 on our list of biblical archaeological discoveries. The Caiaphas ossuary is an ancient limestone bone box that holds significant importance in biblical archaeology due to its association with the high priest Caiaphas, a figure mentioned in the New Testament. Ossuaries were used in Jewish burial practices during the Second Temple period. Some time after death, a person's bones were collected and placed in these small, often ornately decorated boxes. Caiaphas is mentioned in the New Testament as the Jewish high priest during the time of Jesus' ministry. He is most notably known for his role in the trial and crucifixion of Jesus. Number 10. The ancient city of Nineveh. Located on the eastern bank of the Tigris River in northern Iraq, Nineveh was one of the most significant cities of the ancient Assyrian Empire. Its history spans several millennia, with its origins dating back to at least the 7th millennium BC. It's most famously mentioned in the book of Jonah. God commands Jonah to go to Nineveh to warn its inhabitants of impending divine wrath. However, upon Jonah's preaching, the city's residents repent, and God spares the city. If you've enjoyed this video,